Hi, and welcome to a special International Women's Day episode of the Burgess Crew Podcast. Today we're joined by journalist, content creator and founder of Yacht Femme, Andrea Tagliaferro.
I was getting these really highly achieving women to tell their stories. And then when I started talking to them, before we pressed record, they were scared. So I learned that what they were doing, had imposter syndrome. Interesting enough, if you read or found them on their team website, they were at the top of their field, at the top of the leadership board, and still they didn't understand that even though other people saw them like this, they gave them the title, they gave them the team, they still didn't think that they were enough.
Andrea has dedicated her career to celebrating and connecting women within the yachting industry. She's created a powerful community for women to come together and empower each other along their professional journeys. Among other things, she's interviewed some of the most inspiring women in yachting, launched the Women in Yachting Awards, and runs regular forums for women to come together. It was so much fun talking to Andrea. She is an absolute powerhouse. And in our chat, we spoke about imposter syndrome, the importance of reflecting on our wins, and why it was important for her to create a platform for women to come together. Hey, Andrea, nice to see you. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk to us.
No, thank you for the invite. This is such an honor to be top of mind to talk about Women's International Day. This is so exciting for me. Thank you.
It's very exciting for me as well. And as you mentioned, we're here to celebrate International Women's Day. It's our fourth one on this topic. And it's funny because it's a topic that I think we've already done 3 podcasts on this. Where are we going to take this? How are we going to find a different angle? But it's a topic that you can talk about for hours, isn't it? It's women's roles in society, women's roles in yachting. And you are the champion of this topic. So we're so happy to have you here.
That's so sweet to say. I'm just happy that people are remembering Yacht Femme and remembering the platform. It didn't start last year, even though for a lot of people it did, just because what we did last year touched more people. So we had a better reach and people actually know the brand. But I did start in 2018. So when they hear that, I don't know if I'm letting them down because I wasn't successful in the beginning, but we're doing more. We're definitely taking on a lot more projects. So I'm happy that people now think of Yacht Femme when they think of women empowerment in yachting.
Oh, absolutely. And these projects, they can take a little while just to bed in and for the platform to raise it, people's awareness. So what inspired you to start Yacht Femme?
So I was inspired when I went to the Monaco Yacht Show and met so many amazing women. But before I jump in, I want to say, what is the platform? So Yacht Femme is a platform that celebrates and empowers women by helping them increase their visibility, showcasing their expertise. And that's what I really want to focus on, their expertise, on their knowledge, on what is their professional growth. So through impactful events and projects, we create opportunities for women to grow professionally and be recognized across the industry. We do this with in-person events and online events. The in-person events focus more on networking and creating these bonds that even though we try our best to do them digitally, there's nothing like in-person and meeting someone for the first time and, solidifying those connections. And the online projects range from podcasts like yours, where we get to highlight one woman at a time, celebrating their professional journey. And the other ones are the online forums. The online forums only started last year at mid-year, I want to say in August. It was the first one we did, and I got to celebrate over 12 women at a time. And I thought we got something because instead of talking about someone for 30 minutes, this was a 2-day event. So let's say in 4 hours, I got to talk about 12 women in 2 days. So it was for me an aha moment of okay, we can do a lot more with these events. And then how did Yacht Femme come to be? It's evolved quite a bit, I have to say. It started with my first visit to the Monaco Yacht Show. Side note, I got there, I had no idea what the boat show was about. I didn't have even tickets. I didn't know what to do, just be there and explore. So when people ask you, what is your goal for the show? I'm just there to take it in. Everyone has talked about the show. Let's see what happens. And never would I have thought that I would have met so many amazing people that inspired me because I wanted to meet more of them. And then when I got back home, it's just I want to meet more, but what am I doing? What value am I bringing to them? So that's when it all came together for me to have this concept of women in the yachting yachting industry because I wanted to meet more women. There wasn't an organization for women. So how can I put them all together so I could meet them? And then, you know what, other people can benefit from my efforts. So it went from this concept that I thought of during the Monaco Yacht Show to then an Instagram account where I just was highlighting one woman at a time with an Instagram post, and then a website, and then a podcast a year later. And then that was 2019 when I did the podcast. And then only last year, 2024, was when I did the in-person events. Last year was a really big year for us because I got to realize my dreams of the awards for women in yachting, which was really, really huge. We also created 7 events. I only started events in June. So from June to November, we packed in 7 events, 1 online forum, and 6 in-person events. That includes the awards. We got to highlight 50 women through podcasts, award finalists, judges, moderators, and hosted 250 in-person events as an attendees. So wow, it was a busy year.
That's a lot of work, isn't it?
Yes.
And can I ask, the women that you're celebrating, the women that you're talking to, is women on board and on shore, isn't it, in the yachting industry?
Yes. That is correct. Since the beginning, I actually, if you scroll all the way down on Yacht Dame on my Instagram, you'll see that the first shore-based person or the first podcast was actually Gemma Holbert, that she has the Yacht Stew, a wonderful platform that educates stews on board. So not only at the time was she on a yacht, now she's not, she also caters to guests on yachts. So we have shore-based people that are catering to crew, and I've also had crew on a podcast as panelists. Last year during the awards, we actually had a lot of female captains being nominated. It was really exciting for me because it was such a short time. The whole awards, from opening nominations, advertised that I was opening nominations, because the moment I got the green light, I created a website and I started sending out WhatsApp saying, we have an awards, go nominate, to us delivering the trophies on stage. That was 3 months. So it was really, really a sprint. And in that time frame, the word got out, and there was, of course, tons of people that I didn't know. And I was so happy that a lot of crew got a wind of it, because traditionally I've had more connection with people shoreside, so they knew more my platform. So the moment I posted about the event, it was easy for the word to get out in that sector, not in the crew sector. But there's so many organizations that are trying to nurture crew, and they're organized. So when one idea comes out, it's easier for them to spread the word, because it just jumps from Facebook chats, WhatsApp chats, and podcasts, and so on. So I was surprised, but so pleasantly surprised.
And there are a lot of women doing some amazing things out there, aren't there? It's like, when we started doing this podcast, I think I've said to you before that I was worried that we would run out of people to talk to. And yet there are so many. Obviously we deal yacht management, so we deal more with the crew side of things, but crew and ashore, there are so many women who have worked on board boats and who are wanting to start up businesses because they've seen a niche or they've seen something that they want to help people with. So to have a space for women to go to talk about their stories and experiences and help support each other set up businesses is amazing.
I have been so amazed at so many former crew creating businesses. I love the energy that crew seem to have when they want to transition to land-based. So many of them want to build something of their own because they see a need, they see something that's missing in the yachting industry, and they want to close those gaps. So many of them love so much the industry that they don't want to leave. They want to continue to be involved and make it better. I have met so many remarkable, a lot of women, maybe because the platform attracts women, therefore more women actually message me. Not that men are not doing this, but I actually want to give a shout out to the first photographer, videographer that I ever posted on my platform is actually a former crew who's still crew and who is killing it in the media space, Jared Watney, with his brand now. But he also, while he was on board, created a business out of this. And I'm just amazed at how they're doing this because they're all self-taught. So yeah, I don't think you're going to run out of people to talk to.
No. And it's great to hear that you're inspiring people. You and your platform are inspiring people to diversify.
That's kind of crazy though.
It's crazy, but it's amazing. It's what we need, isn't it?
Yeah, it is amazing to think that you are making a difference and influencing that kind of positive reaction. I think the awards are one of those milestones that maybe they didn't have them before, and now people are striving to, like, first of all, I had no idea someone in my space was already accomplishing this. I didn't know there was something higher than what I saw, because when you're self-taught, you only see what's right in front of you until you unlock something else and continue to discover and explore and explore. So just showing them someone that it's on the same path, but maybe at a higher level, just gives them another north point. And also now you have their playbook. Because a lot of people, when they tell me, and I don't know if we're going off topic here, but when they say, oh, I would love to be this job role, how do I get there? I always tell them, go to LinkedIn, find people that occupy that position, and look at what they did to get there. Basically, that was their playbook. That was their professional journey. Read the certificates. Thankfully, people on LinkedIn post a lot of what they're continuing to learn to keep them at the top of their game. So use that.
Yeah. And I understand you have quite a large male following as well. This isn't just females following the platform, but you have a male following.
Yes. So my intention with Yacht Femme, the goal is to empower women. How do we highlight them? It's a lot easier, and we were talking about how do you spread the word faster if you talk to organizations that already exist and help you collaborate with the same message. So in the industry, I'm not the only one doing efforts, initiatives, projects that are centered to helping women professionally grow, get more confidence, learn how to public speak, grow their network. So there's tons of organizations focused on women efforts. And there's also organizations that are not for women, but they're companies that see this need and are creating events for them. Shipbuilders, shipping, yacht sales, brokers, and creating these moments for us to continue to stay connected. And I realized that in the beginning because throughout my career, I've had a lot of mentors. All of them were male mentors, just because it's a male-dominated industry. There's more men in leadership positions, and when I wanted a leader to help me out, ended up that it was easier to find men. Not that there's anything wrong with having a female mentor. That would be amazing, actually. But realizing that all these men help me, why would I create a platform that excludes them? So on social media, I was really strategic in making sure that the content that I would publish was entertaining for men and for women. So I would post about, the recent boat show or the recent yacht launch to make sure that it was for everyone. And then I would have a feature of a woman. And then every project that you would see, there was a female involved, but you didn't know that until you read the credits. So it was sort of like a hidden agenda of promoting women instead of being in your face. And I actually checked today before that page has 51.4% men following it. So I find that to be a success because it was my intention to make sure that I spoke to men and women so we can together work to make this goal a reality, to empower women and get more women in leadership roles. So yeah.
That's amazing. So can you tell us a little bit about some of the women that you've met? I mean, you've interviewed many incredible women in the yachting industry. Are there any particular stories that have stood out for you?
Yes, I've been so lucky to meet so many of these amazing women. I've said this before, I don't know who has ever listened, but many times I have to mute myself because I am smiling and so giddy because I'm a fan of the people that I'm interviewing. I find myself to be so lucky that I hold a microphone and that by creating a stage, I am able to welcome these amazing women. So that's really cool for me. No women in particular I'm going to talk about, but I did find something that I didn't know was a pattern until it happened more than once. And that was that I was getting these really highly achieving women to tell their stories. And then when I started talking to them before we press record, they were scared. They felt honored to be talking to me when it should have been the other way around, when we put ourselves on the balance. So I learned that what they were doing, had imposter syndrome. One of them kept telling me, are you sure you don't want me to introduce my colleagues? They are far more impressive than me. So they kept putting themselves down. I didn't get a word in to ask, like, if I needed something, a specific topic, a specific insight, when they kept lowering their status. And interesting enough, if you read or found them on their team website, they were at the top of their field, at the top of the leadership board. And still they didn't understand that even though other people saw them like this, they gave them the title, they gave them the team, they still didn't think that they were enough. and they wanted to pass the torch to someone else, so you would highlight the one next to them. There's a case study that I read on Forbes. A survey on 2023 found that 75% of female executives across various industries have experienced imposter syndrome in their careers, highlighting specifically high levels of professional women. So this is not special to yachting, it's special to me. This is what's happening.
And I guess it all boils down to self-confidence, doesn't it? Because it's not easy to stand up in front of a group of people on a forum, to make yourself open to criticism, potentially to, not that criticism is guaranteed, but it just takes self-belief and self-confidence. And that's what your community, I guess, do for each other, is just remind each other just how great you all are.
Yes, because now if you are thinking it and you hear, oh, I have imposter syndrome, I'm not the only one. By the way, you're actually part of this group of high achieving individuals that feel the same way. That's not a bad group to be part of. So in December, we hosted this very small Zoom call to break for the holidays, and people got to meet each other. And then again in January to kick off the year. And the women just had to introduce themselves. This was like a 20-second interaction. And then women kept DMing me. That was so scary. You were talking to other people like you, and this was so scary. This was not getting up on stage in front of 20, 50, 100 people that you don't know. For me, it would be just terrifying to raise my hand in my classroom with my peers that I had been in the same classroom for 10 years in high school. To make a comment on something that the teacher had said, I would actually be sweating bullets.
Yeah.
When I found out through TED Talks that this actually happened, and mostly to women. There's a stat that women participate in classrooms a lot less, but the a lot less is huge, and it's a big issue with it in MBAs because a big percentage of their grades is actually participation, not what they deliver. So when I heard that, I thought at every event that I'm at every forum in yachting, I always ask a question because I feel, funny enough, I'm standing up for women just by asking a question so other women see me. I was like, oh, it wasn't this guy with this like huge job title or like, oh yeah, because she can speak because look at the company she represents. No, I represent mine. I'm like the sole proprietor, so nothing huge is backing me up. If I did it, you can do it. So it's funny enough that I even take those moments of like, we can do it, asking a very simple question at a forum.
Yeah. And it's incredible how hard that is. And I resonate very deeply with that. I guess, and I think we've talked about this before, self-reflection is something that maybe we should all do a little bit more, because if we all stop and actually thought about what we've achieved so far in our careers, what it's taken to get us where we are today, I think we'd all be, quite surprised at actually how much we've done.
I think everyone would be surprised. It doesn't matter where you are, if you're starting your career or not. You would be shocked if you're at your first job. The training that you did before, the courage that you did to submit the resume or impressing the person in the job interview, actually those were accomplishments. So if you start listing them, that does help. I do the inverse every time I want to take on a very big project, like, for example, the awards. Have I ever done an awards? Absolutely not. It could have been daunting. Yes, it was. But then I went to how I take on any big project, chunk by chunk. Went to ChatGPT, really went to ChatGPT because I had no idea what this looked like. I started watching clips for the Oscars to see what people said on the representation, what did happen as entertainment, and then started listing them the same way you list accomplishments, and started putting step by step and then just checking them off as you go. If you do that the same for the things that you have accomplished and look back, you'll be so surprised at everything that you have done. And even if you're not feeling bad and you don't need an extra boost, always do that. We did that at the beginning of the year, where the women were asked in the community that I have to write down their accomplishments for 2024. And they were shocked at what they had done because they hadn't, as you said, we rarely have a moment when we're on the, go, stop and think, what have I done? So for them, it was also like a great exercise because they couldn't believe they actually had done something. So yes, if you can, please take a moment to do this. And if you need an extra boost, put it as Post-its on your mirrors So anytime you feel bad, add something. And when you're feeling low, create simple tasks, not big ones. May it be from like keeping the plant alive. I would, that would crush me because I think the cactus would die in my hand. But anything that you can accomplish, make it into little pieces that it helps you. And then when you do one little one, you can get to do the other one and so on.
So the Women in Yachting Awards, major milestone. Tell me about the selection process. How do you identify the winners?
So to pick the winners, I assemble a team of 9 judges. This year we may have actually 10, but the 9 judges last year, 3 were from the industry, 6 were not, with the whole intention of making this as fair as possible and people to focus on achievement and expertise and what you have done as a professional versus, oh, I know them, I like them. It's really hard. For me, it would be very hard. Like I said in the beginning of the podcast, I am a fan of these women. I'm a real geek fan that when I see them at the dock, I have to compose myself not to sound like a nerd. So how would I be able to judge one versus the other one? I'm already there looking at the numbers coming in from the judges for specific nominees, rooting for them. It would be impossible for me to be impartial in that sense. So these 3 that are from the yachting industry, 6 that are not. Another thing that I focus on is like people not saying, oh, you have men judging women. Actually, of the 9, 3 were men, 6 were women. So we still have a ratio. It could not be, remember again, we want to collaborate and include, in my case, men and women. So I didn't want just to have an all-female judge panel. They are given, not instructions. It's not like I'm telling them what to do, but a little bit. I'm telling them what each award stands for because we have 3 awards. So they understand when they're judging these women, what are they judging them on? What is the award representing for each of these candidates? We had candidates and nominees that people nominated them for more than 1 award. So when they're judging them for the Trailblazer, the judge has to be in the mentality of the Trailblazer. And if not, he's judging them in the mentality of entrepreneur or rising star. And then again, trying to make this as detached as possible, I created a spreadsheet and a point system for them to allocate points to each woman. And then I tallied them up. They had no idea. The judges never met. Of course, if they know each other from the dock, that's great. But they did not make decisions together. They submitted their numbers. I tallied them up, or well, really a formula on Excel did. So only I knew who was the top finalist. And then at the awards, it was written down on an envelope only minutes before going on stage to keep it as detached as possible. So that's how the winners were selected. Oh, something else for the winners that I do want to add is every time a nominee comes in, I have to do the legwork of research of, are there articles written about them? Is their LinkedIn fully updated so I can at least add this? Because when you say a judge is going to judge you, you have to submit some kind of portfolio, some kind of data so they can actually know who you are to make an assessment. The amount of women that had digital footprint was so little. It was, some women were almost eliminated because there was nothing you can find of them online. So the judges would give them the lowest score because what could they say about you? They only have their first and their last name. They don't have your picture. They don't have any of that. The idea is for it just to be on achievements. So if you're listening to this and you want to be nominated or you get nominated, go ahead, write a blog post, make articles to your achievements, your certification, everything that you have done, and make it easy for the judges to understand who you are. Right now, it's really hard because not enough women get asked to be on podcast panelists. So their digital footprint is very, very small. So if you don't get asked, take it into your own hands, and LinkedIn is free. Add all the information there. And at least we can use that.
Good advice. And you're a busy woman, Andrea. You've also got an International Women's Day Forum coming up. Tell us a bit about that.
Yes. Well, I thought, my plate was so empty that why didn't we throw in a forum? So yeah, we actually, the previous one, I think it was 2 weeks ago. So I'm shocked that we're here again. But the forum, I thought, was the best way to celebrate International Women's Day because as a women's platform, the question is like, what are you going to do now for this, basically our holiday? And actually the answer was quite simple because if the goal is to celebrate women's achievements and expertise and empower them, and I have thought that through education and giving them a spotlight, I created a forum that was about this. And the thing is, each forum has a different topic. that is an influential topic in the industry. But for us to move up and we want to get more women in leadership roles, why don't we talk about leadership, entrepreneurship, management? Basically, the women that have done this already, even if it was without our help, so they can inspire other women to actually do the same and even give us the tips and tricks that they used back then or continue to use so we can actually implement them now ourselves. So that's why the focus is on this. And there's one that's like on marketing and branding. The amount of women that reach out to me and even men that need help with branding and marketing because they're launching their own business. Of course, they're experts in their field and the content and topic they actually want to tackle, but they're not really marketing experts. And they drown in the, do I need a website? Do I need a logo? Do I need to hire anyone? I don't want to start on this venture and then have my marketing assets work against me. So it's actually a very important topic to actually think about really in the beginning. Not invest that much while especially if you're doing everything alone, and then continue. But they'll be actually answering more detailed questions and give you more than what I just said. We have an amazing list of speakers that are joining us. It was very popular, I think, for women to also be asked to be in a forum about International Women's Day. So I am very, very excited. I'm very excited for it to be done as well because I want to sleep, but I'm very excited for the content that we were going to hear.
It sounds like a lot of work. So any woman listening who's thinking of setting up their own business or, working their way up the career ladder on board a yacht and needs some support, somebody to talk to, guidance, this forum would be a good place for them to go?
Yeah, I would highly recommend anyone that's starting out, or even if you're not starting out, if your crew, the goal for these forums was always to make it as accessible as possible. They're free, they're online, it's broadcasted on social media channels. You didn't even have to get a password or login. It's the lowest entry barrier that I could even think of. Please listen to it. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you already started, you're now on a boat and want to be promoted to a leadership role and you haven't had a leadership course, what does it even look like? What leadership styles actually would be one that you want to adopt?
Amazing. So looking ahead, then we've talked about the future. What's next for you? What's next for Yacht Femme? How do you see the platform growing?
So what's next? I love that question because it was the most daunting thing I asked myself after completing the
goals. We need goals.
Well, after you complete your dream, so you pack it in, you're done, right? Yeah. But seriously, the biggest thing for me that I didn't know what I needed to do, but I needed to keep momentum. Also, I didn't want to become that person that hustled, and I'm actually really good at sprints. It's really hard to do consistent work. So doing things like forums every 2 weeks are where I excel. Maintaining the same quality of work throughout the year actually takes a lot more work and effort for me personally. So again, it was after you accomplish your dream, what next? And going back to thinking, okay, what did we achieve? What could we have done better? Maybe we can just optimize what we did. And that's actually where my mindset went. My mindset went into, can we make the events that we did last year anchor events, annual events that people can look forward to? Not only would that help us solidify us as a brand, it would help our event partners understand that where they are solid with them. And it actually would even help us allow people to not only set a calendar date in advance, but even look for us as an anchor for them to extend their stay at the show. Many of our events are actually the last day of a boat show. So maybe you didn't want to fly in early, you'll fly in later because of us. So if we could actually create that change, it would help all our partners involved. So make our events anchor events, making sure we have stable and strategic partners. Last year, the hustle to actually cover our overhead through sponsorship was real all the way to the very end. Even we got a sponsor after the awards were over, allowing us to cover overhead. So the idea for it to be sustainable isn't to always be on that run for that last sponsorship, but to create these really loyal relationships that we continue to give back to them and then continue to help us. So that's very important for us. And the most important one is the membership. Last year, aside from all the events that I wanted to create this year, how to optimize and make them easier and all that, obviously monetization, I thought, okay, I think we can take on community building because a lot of these times these women come to the event. Maybe they don't make it. They didn't make it to the Fort Lauderdale boat show. So they didn't get to create networks because they couldn't make it or because they left early the boat show. So I thought, if I am truly a digital platform and I've been working remotely and I always wanted to lower the point of entry and have people network wherever they were, how can I create this community? So we started with a WhatsApp, very simple one. It became really successful that women were continuing to build professional relationships and actually collaborate with businesses and create projects together, which was very exciting. In only 30 days, women wanted more, and they actually started asking for a membership. So we launched the membership in mid-February that gives them more access to our events, includes exclusive events, discounts, and sponsorship. A lot of the women now want to be involved and put their logos on our events. So now we're giving them discounts to anyone that actually is a member to us, and they unlock this private community. So yeah, those are the plans for this year. So it's trying to do everything we did last year better this year.
Wow. I mean, Andrea, honestly, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for sharing your journey, because you've covered a lot in a very small period of time, and your growth is, I think, a real testament to the work that you're doing, the number of followers that you have already, the number of women and the number of men that you have supporting as well. It's inspiring and empowering women. You really remind us how important it is to support and uplift each other. And I am very excited to see where Yacht Femme goes next.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I've been wanting to be on this podcast for a very long time. So being here was, you know what, another milestone of the year. So I don't have to wait till December to count it. Thank you.
Welcome anytime, Andrea. It's lovely to meet you. Thank you.